guys, I've been thinking of doing this video for the past couple of days because I've been receiving a few messages from people asking me about well, I mean, it's something I get quite frequently, you know, because I'm a student and it's kind of rare on YouTube. People very frequently message me asking me questions about university, and very frequently people ask me about how to choose what major you want to pursue your studies in, or how to choose a field, or what criteria you look up, or you know, base your choice on. I want to start this video by saying that every situation is different. There's an inherent pressure to the choice, that is to choose your major, to choose what you're going to study. I also want to say, you know, that life is really long and that you're not forced to do the same job for all of your life, and that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to change your mind, it's okay to discover some new interests and passions. As difficult as it can be to find a work and a job, it's also not only about what you're studying, it's also about your experiences, the people you meet. You can offer what is different about you, what is your specialization, if you have any specific capacities. Just don't be too worried about it, because honestly a lot, and I mean, I'm saying all of this because I'm like almost at the end of my studies, so I can see that a lot unfolds as you go and as you progress and as you get more and more experience with university. I have made choices at the beginning of my university life, sorry for that fucking noise, that I would really not make now, but perhaps if I hadn't made those choices that were bad choices in a way, I would perhaps not have the same experience as I have now, and I would perhaps not be as prepared. And I mean, yeah, I can deal with stress, I can deal with being anxious, I can deal with feeling lost, I can deal with having to ask so many questions to different people at university. I know how to do if you miss an exam, if you fail at an exam, if you want to change your major. I know you know, all these things I'm familiar with. I know how it feels like to have twice as many exams and twice as many subjects because you have to do what you couldn't do last year because you just arrived in this new major. As much as I would probably like a lot more to have had a very peaceful and linear and logical and just wonderfully, you know, sort of planned experience with university, it wasn't the case, and believe it or not, it is not the case for many people. I'm gonna go with you over the few questions, some of the questions I get asked very frequently. The first question is, how did you choose what you wanted to study? So first of all, it took me a long time to figure out. I mean, not really a long time to figure out, because I always, in my life, I've always wanted to be either a psychologist or a teacher, but the ways to end up doing what you want to do are very diverse. And at first I made the choice of wanting to be a psychologist, which was a bad choice. So I studied psychology, I dropped out. And I wasn't dropped out, like I literally did not go to university for a year. And then I went back to what I love the most, which is literature. So quite frankly, I'd say you gotta do what you love the most. And people ask me sometimes, I want to study literature, or I want to study art, or I want to study sociology, but those fields are not really the best when it comes to finding a job. And you know, it is not my life, it's your life, so it's not like I'm in any position to give you any advice, and I don't want to influence anyone or be held responsible for anything. But what I can tell you from my own experience is that I was miserable doing things I was not passionate about. As soon as I started studying literature, even though I had social anxiety, I had depression, and I was really stressed and worried because I felt like I had wasted a few years of my life, and you know, there were money issues and whatnot, it just felt so much better and everything became so easier. And when you're into university, when you're in university, when you speak with the teachers, when you realize what subjects you can take, what classes you can have, what internships you can do, what specializations you can, you know, have access to, you realize you can, even though it is obviously a very sort of standard system in which you have, you know, different fields and different major and whatever, you can make it a little bit specific to yourself. At least in France, you know, when you do your bachelor, you can then choose a different master degree, or you can have a specialization that's going to provide you with different skills. And so it is very difficult to form a very sort of defined and finite opinion what you can do and what you should do when you're just entering university. So for me, honestly, I'd say go with your heart and do what you want to do and work your way up after that. Just I think what's really important is to always search for information. Another reason why I'm currently sort of being a lot more, I suppose, concerned with this topic and this question is because I'm right now in a place where I have to choose for next year. As you probably know, I'm now doing 2 master degrees at the same time, which is very time consuming and demanding, and I'm not really enjoying the experience that much, to be completely honest with you. And I am passionate about the 2 things I'm studying. I'm passionate about literature and I'm passionate about linguistics. Not really, but I mean, I'm passionate about teaching French, and in order to teach French I need to study linguistics. However, there is another master degree, and in France it's like 3 years, which is your bachelor, and then you have 2 years for your master degree. But you could stop at 1 year and have like a M1, which is maîtrise in France, and which sometimes enables you to work but not all the time. So I was thinking I wanted to do a full master degree in literature but just have a M1 in linguistics. And I was so passionate about teaching, and the internship was going so well, at least with the students, that I thought, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do the M2 next year as well. And you know, I was set up on that. I was like, that's planned, that's fine, no worries. And then I realized that is really tiring, that is really exhausting. Do I really want to keep doing that? Do I really want to do that next year? As I was looking up, you know, things online, I realized that my university also has a master degree in sociology and anthropology, which is entitled Gender, Power and Colonization or something along those lines in Middle East and the north of Africa, which is called Maghreb. And I'm passionate about that. I looked up the classes they were offering and what the content of this master degree was, and I just suddenly, I mean, not suddenly, it's obviously things I'm interested in, but I started thinking about it a lot more. I started thinking, oh my god, that's something I would really like to do, that's something I'm really interested in, that would go so well with my literature studies, that would go very well with my French as a foreign literature, French as a foreign language studies too. You know, I was confused and I was lost, and I'm still a bit lost. And I just want to tell you, you know, even when you know what you want to do, and even when you're like 4 years into your studies, there are still things you learn, still things you discover. And I think that's the same when you end up working, you know, even when you work, there are things you discover, things you fall upon on, or new people you meet that say something, that share something with you, and this creates a new desire or a new interest or a new perspective or a new path, and suddenly you're thinking, oh, maybe I could do that, maybe I should do this. And that's the beauty of it. Obviously studying is a privilege. Obviously those questions are questions that privileged people can have, but if you're lucky enough to be in that situation, I just want you to realize that you also have a lot of power on what you can do, and that life is really long and you'd better do something you like. You don't want to spend your life doing something that you don't like if you have the possibility and the chance to choose, because many people do not really have the possibility to choose, and that's a truth, that's a fact that we cannot deny. Having a job that you like is a fucking privilege that very few people on this earth have. Just realize that in life, depending on what you do, where you go, where you're doing it, when you're doing it, with whom, everything can be different. It is a bit of a scary thing to really understand that everything is changing, but it's also the beauty of it, because it makes failure a lot less sort of defining. If you're about to choose what you're gonna do next year or in 2 years, just really try to think as diversely as possible, research as much as possible, ask questions to different people, and listen to your heart. And don't be scared, because even if you make a small mistake, you can change your major, you can change your path, you can have experiences, internships, collaborations, certifications that will make it, more sort of easier for you to get where you want to finally be. So I hope this was inspiring. I hope this was interesting, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.